What if I told you that a nation halfway across the world, a place most people might overlook, holds a hidden role in God's divine plan? A role so profound, so unexpected, it challenges everything we think we know about prophecy, faith, and destiny. Imagine a country shaped by centuries of resilience, forged through unimaginable trials yet steadfast in its faith. A nation known as the Pearl of the Orient. Could it be that this pearl has been divinely prepared for a moment in history that's yet to unfold? The Bible hints at nations rising in the last days to fulfill divine purposes. Could the Philippines, this deeply faithful, joyfully resilient nation, be one of them? What does it mean for a nation to be chosen by God? In this video, we'll uncover the biblical clues, the historical mysteries, and the prophetic signs that point to a shocking truth about the Philippines' divine purpose. And trust me, the answers might just change how you see this nation and your own faith forever. So, are you ready to discover the incredible destiny of a nation that could hold the key to God's ultimate plan? The biblical basis for a chosen nation. Throughout history, God has chosen specific nations to fulfill His divine purposes. We see this vividly in the Bible, where Israel is called His chosen people, Deuteronomy 7:6. God raised them up to reveal His glory, to proclaim His name among the nations, and to bring forth the Savior of the world. In Matthew 12:42, Jesus speaks of the Queen of the South, saying, "She will rise at the judgment with this generation and condemn it." Many theologians have debated the identity of this queen, but some interpretations suggest it could point to a nation in the South, perhaps a country that exemplifies faith and resilience in the face of adversity. Exclamation point. The speaker within the speaker. Could the Philippines, this archipelago in Southeast Asia, rich in Christian faith, be a modern reflection of God's chosen nation? The Philippines' Christian heritage. The Philippines is often called the most Christian nation in Asia, and rightly so. With over 86% of its population identifying as Catholic, this nation stands as a bastion of faith in a region dominated by other religions. But this didn't happen by chance. In the 16th century, Spanish missionaries arrived with the sword and the cross, bringing the message of Christ to these islands. The Spanish colonization wasn't without hardship. It came with exploitation and suffering. Yet, amidst the trials, the Filipinos embraced the faith wholeheartedly, integrating it into their daily lives, traditions, and celebrations. Today, symbols of that legacy endure: the grand processions during Holy Week, the devout following of the Black Nazarene, and the unwavering commitment to family prayer and Sunday worship. The faith of the Filipino people has not just survived, it has flourished. But why does this matter? Could this nation's unwavering devotion be part of a divine purpose? A calling that stretches far beyond its borders? Symbolism of the Pearl of the Orient, the symbol of the Persian. The procedure is repeated until the desired response to the person is achieved. Once the response is achieved, the effect is repeated and repeated until the response is closed. The miracle of the miracle works, and after 90 days, the person appears healthy, happy, and strong. The Philippines is famously called the Pearl of the Orient, a name that holds profound biblical symbolism. In Matthew chapter 13 verses 45 through 46, Jesus speaks of the pearl of great price, comparing it to the kingdom of heaven, a treasure so valuable that a man would sell everything to obtain it. But how are pearls formed? They emerge from pain. A tiny grain of sand irritates the oyster, and over time, layers upon layers are added to transform that irritation into a radiant, priceless gem. The Philippines' history mirrors this process. Centuries of colonization, devastating wars, and relentless natural disasters have caused suffering beyond measure. Yet through these trials, the Filipino people have emerged stronger, more faithful, and more united, a shining testament to God's transformative power. Is it possible that the Philippines, shaped by adversity and strengthened by faith, has been prepared by God to fulfill a special mission in these turbulent times? may it be best explained by saying, what role does the Philippines' deep faith and resilience play in God's greater plan for the world? And why might this nation be destined to rise as a spiritual beacon in the end times? Let's explore these questions together. The Queen of the South prophecy. The Queen of the South will rise at the judgment with this generation and condemn it. This verse has puzzled theologians for centuries. Who is this Queen of the South? And why is she destined to rise in judgment? Many biblical scholars point to her as a symbol of wisdom and divine calling. Traditionally associated with the Queen of Sheba, some now see her prophecy extending beyond ancient times to a modern nation, a nation chosen to rise in faith and purpose. Could this queen symbolize the Philippines? The Philippines, located in the southern part of Asia, stands as a beacon of unwavering Christian faith. This nation, deeply rooted in devotion to God, mirrors the spiritual qualities of wisdom, resilience, and obedience seen in the Queen of Sheba. Is it possible that the Philippines, often overlooked in global affairs, was divinely prepared for a role in God's grand plan of salvation? Historical parallels with the Queen of Sheba. In the Bible, the Queen of Sheba traveled great distances to seek Solomon's wisdom, bringing with her riches and gifts. She recognized the divine presence in Israel and humbled herself before God's anointed king. Similarly, the Philippines has long demonstrated a unique humility and dedication to God, despite its history of colonization, hardships, and trials. What's more, the Philippines is often called the gateway to Asia. Could it be that this queen nation is meant to bring spiritual riches to the world? The Philippines' global missionary spirit. The Philippines isn't just a nation of faith, it's a nation of missionaries. Millions of Filipinos work abroad, from the US and Europe to the Middle East. But they don't just send home financial remittances, they bring the gospel. They carry God's love and light to places where Christianity struggles to thrive. Could the Filipino diaspora be part of a divine strategy, spreading seeds of faith across the globe in preparation for Christ's return? Over 10 million Filipinos live abroad, and they are often praised for their strong faith and community spirit. In the Middle East, a region where Christianity faces immense challenges, Filipino workers have been quietly spreading the love of Christ through worship gatherings and personal witness. In the United States and Europe, Filipino communities are revitalizing churches and bringing fresh energy to the Christian faith. Filipinos are modern missionaries, spreading hope and faith even in the darkest corners of the world. Could this global presence be their divine calling? Geographic and symbolic positioning. The Philippines' location is no accident. Positioned at the heart of Asia, this archipelago connects the East and the West, acting as a bridge between cultures and faiths. For centuries, it has served as a gateway for the spread of Christianity in Asia. End of chapter 3. But geography isn't the only thing that's symbolic. The Bible often uses the rising sun as a symbol of renewal and hope. Located in the Far East, the Philippines is literally the land where the sun rises first each day. Could this signify its spiritual role in heralding a new dawn for God's people? The rising sun isn't just a natural phenomenon, it's a spiritual metaphor. Could the Philippines be the nation chosen to lead a new era of faith and renewal? Correctus, the Philippines as a spiritual beacon. Despite its challenges, the Philippines has remained steadfast in its faith. Churches are full, worship services are vibrant, and the people's love for God is evident in their daily lives. This nation, shaped by trials and triumphs, stands as a testimony of what it means to walk in faith and humility. Signs of divine favor. The Philippines as a nation of God's grace. What makes a nation blessed by God? Is it wealth, power, or could it be something far deeper, an unshakable faith, a generous heart, and a spirit that shines even in the darkest times? Today, we'll uncover the signs that the Philippines might just be a nation favored by God. The Filipino spirit, a testament to God's grace. If you've ever met a Filipino, you know their spirit is something extraordinary. They are resilient, able to rebuild after every storm, literal or figurative. Their hospitality is legendary, welcoming strangers with open arms and hearts filled with joy. In the face of disasters, like the devastating Typhoon Haiyan, the world witnessed something remarkable: unity. Strangers became family. Neighbors shared what little they had, and prayers filled the air. It was as if God Himself gave them the strength to endure and rebuild. But what if this resilience isn't just cultural? What if it's spiritual, a reflection of divine favor? And then there's their faith. It's not just a Sunday activity, it's a way of life. You'll see this in their grand processions, heartfelt prayers, and the crosses proudly displayed in their homes. Could this unwavering devotion be a sign of a nation chosen to carry God's light in the modern world? Miracles and devotion, signs of God's hand. Throughout history, God has shown His favor through miracles, moments when the divine breaks into the ordinary, and the Philippines has no shortage of these holy signs. Consider the Black Nazarene procession, where millions gather each January to honor a centuries-old statue of Christ. It's not just an event, it's a pilgrimage of faith. Devotees walk barefoot, carrying their burdens and prayers, believing in the healing power of this sacred image. Or take the many reports of Marian apparitions who visit the Virgin Mary appearing to bring messages of hope and renewal. These encounters, whether personal or communal, remind Filipinos that they are never alone in their struggles. But why here? Why does God seem to reveal His miracles so often in this small archipelago? The Filipino diaspora, a spiritual army across the globe. The Filipino spirit isn't confined to its shores. Over 10 million Filipinos live and work abroad, but they don't just bring their skills, they bring their faith. Overseas Filipino workers, OFWs, are often called the modern heroes for the sacrifices they make to support their families. But they're more than that. They're spiritual ambassadors. In foreign lands, they gather for masses, organize prayer groups, and bring the light of Christ to places that desperately need hope. In the Middle East, Europe, and the Americas, you'll find Filipino communities building chapels, singing hymns, and sharing the gospel, not through grand sermons, but through their everyday kindness and unwavering belief. Could this global spread of faith-filled Filipinos be part of God's master plan? From their resilience to their miracles, from their devotion to their diaspora, the Philippines shines as a beacon of God's love and grace. But the question remains, what role does this nation play in His grand design? And what can the rest of us learn from their unwavering faith? Challenges and spiritual testing, the refining of a nation, the Philippines' struggles. For centuries, the Philippines has been a nation tested by immense challenges. Colonized by foreign powers, exploited for resources, and ruled by oppressive regimes, its people have endured the pain of subjugation. Spanish colonization brought Christianity, but also centuries of control. American influence left marks of modernization, but also dependency. Even today, corruption continues to plague its governance, robbing the nation of its full potential. And yet, the trials didn't end there. The Philippines is no stranger to the wrath of nature. Typhoons, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, disasters that would break most nations have tested the resilience of this one time and again. But here's the question. Could these trials be more than just hardship? Could they be part of something greater? God's divine refining of a nation, like a pearl formed through immense pressure? Even when in faith, just as a pearl gains its beauty through years of friction and struggle, the Philippines seems to be emerging, shaped by God for a higher purpose. Could the very struggles that have tested this nation be preparing it to shine as a beacon of faith for the world, spiritual drift, or resilience? But even as the Philippines grows and modernizes, has it drifted spiritually? In a world dominated by globalization and materialism, the lure of wealth and convenience often takes precedence over faith. Big cities buzz with opportunity, but they also foster spiritual emptiness. Have some Filipinos lost touch with the deeply rooted faith that carried their ancestors through generations of struggle? Yet, amidst this drift, there is a light that refuses to be extinguished. From the provinces to the diaspora, Filipinos remain some of the most devoted Christians in the world. In rural areas, faith is woven into daily life. Children still memorize prayers, and communities rally around their churches. Overseas, millions of Filipino workers bring not only their skills, but also their unwavering devotion to God, transforming workplaces into places of worship and hope. Could it be that while globalization tempts many to drift away, the enduring faith of these Filipinos is proof that God's hand is still upon this nation? The Philippines is a paradox, a nation tested by trials yet steadfast in its faith. It is a country shaped by struggle but unyielding in hope. Could this be the sign of God refining not just a nation, but a people destined to fulfill a greater purpose? What it means for the world, a model of faith and resilience. The story of the Philippines is one of triumph through faith. For over 500 years, this nation has carried the light of Christianity in Asia, enduring colonization, wars, natural disasters, and economic struggles. Yet, despite the challenges, the Filipino spirit remains unbroken. Imagine this, a country hit by over 20 typhoons a year, yet its people continue to sing hymns, rebuild homes, and gather in prayer. The resilience of the Filipino people is not just cultural, it's spiritual. Their faith is a testimony to the power of believing in God's plan, even when the road ahead seems impossible. A prophetic role in the end times? The Philippines sits at the crossroads of East and West, uniquely positioned as a bridge between cultures, religions, and nations. With its deeply rooted Christian foundation, it's not hard to imagine why some believe it could play a critical role in God's end-time plan. Let's consider its geography, an archipelago protected by vast oceans, far from the power centers of the world. Could the Philippines serve as a refuge for believers during the Great Tribulation, a place where faith and safety meet? Biblical prophecies often speak of nations rising to fulfill God's purposes. Isaiah 24:15 calls for people to glorify the Lord in the islands of the sea. Could this be pointing to the Philippines, where Christianity thrives in every corner, from bustling cities to remote villages? The Philippines reminds us that God's plan often unfolds through unexpected places and people. If this small nation can inspire the world with its faith and resilience, imagine what you, as an individual, can do by surrendering fully to God's will. Philippines after Phantom. And if you found this video inspiring, make sure to like and share it with others who might need this reminder of faith and hope. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more discussions about prophecy, faith, and the hidden truths of God's Word. Together, let's explore His divine plan for our world.